Hello, I'm in Iceland actually, and I'm going to share my story how I went from an eating disorder to a smile. And here's actually some ice in Iceland. So I'm making this video because a lot of the clients and members at Terra Nova Fitness think I've always had it together and that always things work out for me, and mentally I've always been there. But if you knew where I came from, you would have zero doubt you can get through any emotional eating issues that you have. So many years ago, I actually had an eating disorder. I had a body image disorder. And so I would excessively exercise, a lot. And I would never eat anything unless I personally packed it. I would go to friends' parties. I would drive my girlfriends crazy because I would only eat certain things. And then I would overeat, healthy food and unhealthy food. And then I would basically starve myself for 8-12 hours. And at this point, I said to myself, oh, it's not that bad. At least I'm not purging and sticking my finger down my throat. Fast forward a few months later, and I'm in a cold, dark garage, and I'm sticking my finger down my throat, and I'm throwing up because I overate, and I don't want to gain body fat. And I would spend literally countless hours in front of the mirror, seeing how I could actually look really big. I'd buy certain clothes that I would look really big, and if I ever caught like an angle where I didn't look really big, it would completely consume my entire life. I couldn't concentrate on anything else. I would see the whole world through this lens, and it got so bad where I was actually pushing a fulfilling life, a happy life away from me. I was, pushing, personal relationships away because all I could think about is, how I looked. What's my body fat like? Am I looking big? And it got to a point where it's so painful. It was more painful to stay the same than to change. So I'm going to share with you how I got out of this, and out of this body image disorder to a smile. And I'm shaking a little because I'm literally in Iceland and it's really, really cold, okay? So there's 3 breakthroughs I went through. Number 1 is becoming present, okay? Number 2 is identities, having multiple identities. And number 3 is relying on the process, okay? So the first thing is becoming more present. I can actually remember the first time I felt more present. It was an actual taste. And why this is so important, because if you don't have present energy, if you're not grounded, you completely identify with the scale weight, with the body fat percentage, with the size of your jeans, and how you look in the mirror. So when you step on that scale, when you're doing the body fat and it doesn't match up to what you want, you're completely identified with it, right? Here's how you look, here's the body fat percentage, and you actually think you are that thing. You see the whole world through it, and it almost feels like you have the flu or you're sick, right? It's all you feel. And when you don't have this present energy, you go into what I call downward spirals of emotions. You go through this feedback loop from hell, right? You step on that scale, you look in the mirror, you overeat or you ate something you're not proud of, and you feel like crap. And then you feel like crap because you feel like crap, and then you feel like crap that you feel like crap, and it's this massive downward spiral. So what are some ways you can become present? Well, here's one way right here is you can actually just look at nature. And when you look at nature, you take the focus off yourself and you put it somewhere else. And what you start to notice is you become the watcher of emotions. You're no longer identified with it. So how does that help you in life? You step on that scale, you overeat, and if you have present energy, you don't identify with it, okay? Another way to become present is to meditate. And when I first bring up meditation to many people at Terra Nova Fitness, the common response is, well, Chris, I already tried that. I'm no good at meditation. I think too much, I can't stop thinking, I can't concentrate. So if that's your rule for success at meditation, how often are you going to be successful? Very rarely. The cool thing about life is you can actually make up your own rules. So here are my rules to be successful at meditation. Number one, you schedule it. Just like anything else, doctor's appointment, taking your kids to school, you schedule it. Number two is you start with 2 minutes. I started with 2 minutes and I'm up to 20. Number three, you focus on your breathing. And then number four is you do not judge yourself. When you do these four things, you're successful at meditation. And what you start to notice is the length of time you can do it and the present energy increases. Number two is identities, having multiple identities. When you put all your emotional eggs in one basket, how I look, did I overeat? What's the scale weight? What's the number? When you put all your emotional eggs in that basket and those eggs break, you're emotionally dead. So what I started to do is I put more eggs in different identities. I'm a father. My kid's 18 now. What do I have to do as a father to show him that he's loved and that he's fulfilled, right? I'm a business owner. I'm very fortunate. I've owned my own business for 8 years. And what do I have to do to become a better business owner, to add more value to my clients and members and to the coaching staff? I'm a friend. What can I do to be a better friend? Do I offer to hold some equipment, give some advice, or just be lending an ear? At times when, I have a girlfriend, what do I do? What can I do to be a better boyfriend? Do I listen more? Do I ask her questions that are gonna make her feel, valued? So there's all these other identities. So what happens here is when you put different eggs in different identities, you have multiple emotional lives. And what I notice when people first come into Terranova Fitness is when they put all their eggs in this one basket and the eggs break, they're emotionally dead inside because they put all their eggs in one basket. So I'm asking you, who are you? Are you a mother, a father? Are you a student? Are you a photographer? Are you a traveler? Are you a friend? Are you a lover? Are you a writer? Are you a singer? There's so many other identities you have. So diversify these identities. You have multiple lives. And I'm shaking a little because I'm literally in Iceland and I'm freezing. So breakthrough number three is the process. You have to have a process when things go bad, when emotional storms happen. It's kind of like having a rock that you swim to when the current's going. So in behavioral psychology, there's this thing called growth and fixed mindset. And it's basically people who identify with something. If something goes wrong, they go into massive downward spiral and they go into what I call the feedback loop from hell. So if you step on the scale and look in the mirror, you don't like what you see, you feel like crap. And then you feel like crap because you feel like crap. And then you feel like crap because you can't control how you feel and that you have no control. So growth mindset is when you rely on the process. Okay, I'm going to share my process that, for the first time when I started doing these things, I kind of felt like a prisoner who got his first taste of freedom. And when I first got this taste of freedom, I wanted more. I was enthralled by it. So I wake up pretty early in the morning. And the first thing I do is I meditate. And this makes me become very present. And at times I'll laugh and smile for no reason. And again, I use those 4 rules to be successful. And then the second thing I do is actually spend a few minutes on what I have gratitude for. My son's health, my parents' health, my friends, my business, being in shape, reading, life in itself. And what's cool about gratitude is when you focus on gratitude, you can't feel stress and anger at the same time. It's one of the most important things you can do in a day. The other thing I do is I focus on the goal, or focus on what I want for that day. I have a target. The other thing I do that's part of my process is I do these weird mumbo jumbo incantations. And what I'm basically doing is I'm programming my subconscious mind. And it goes to work for me throughout the day. So a lot of people, they wake up and they hope the day goes like somewhere, right? They hope this happens or hope that happens. I rarely hope. I actually demand the day goes for me a certain way, okay? So what is your process that you use when things don't go your way? It could be anything. Gratitude. When you walk home, do you hug a loved one? When you walk into a kitchen, do you grab some water? What is your process when things don't go right? So again, these are 3 things that got me from an eating disorder to a smile. It was becoming more present, right? Again, one way you can become more present is just looking at nature and indulging in it. The second thing was having multiple identities. And the third thing is having a process. So I would love for some of you guys to email me or share in person what your process is, what fits into your life, because what fits in my life might not fit into your life. So again, I made this video because I'm not perfect. I didn't always have it together. And if I can do this, I guarantee you with absolute certainty, you can do this too.